Race day at Snetterton. Sunny race day for a change after a rather chilly and overcast qualifying day yesterday, and 2 races for the Ginetta GT Championship backed by Protyre Motorsport, and also for the other Ginetta classes that we have here this weekend. In other words, it's going to be a busy day of action all round, and after a race yesterday that was won by Mckenzie Douglass yet again, because he's rather been the dominant driver within the championship this year, the cars make their way up onto a grid based on the driver's second best qualifying times. It was Mckenzie Douglass who won yesterday from Garlick, and then Nick White took third, helped largely by Garlick having 2 separate penalties. First of all, a 5, and then an additional 10-second penalty for track limit offences. There, looking down onto the grid, is number 44, Harry Mangian, who starts 5th. And over his shoulder, 22, the white car, is his dad, Peter, who yesterday got turned around on the second lap of the race by a recovering Jimmy Broadbent, who'd had a bad start because the car ahead of him had a mechanical problem and didn't get going, so he was boxed in and couldn't find a way through the traffic. When he got going, he put his elbows out, turned around Peter Mangian, and for his pains, he was given 3 behavioural warning points, which in turn gives him a 5-place grid drop for today. So Jimmy Broadbent is at the back of the grid at number 56. You can see there the Xentek Motorsport entry. It isn't the largest entry, sadly, for the Ginetta GT Championship, but the racing has been pretty decent this year, and Mckenzie Douglass on pole position now with 8 wins to his name, is very much the man to beat. He's the man in charge. Yesterday, he led, built up a bit of a gap, and then lost time mid-race. Very nearly lost the lead as well, but was able just to defend and then fight back and extend the margin right towards the very end. It's going to be a rolling start, so the cars have come from the assembly area straight onto the grid, and then they get the rolling lap. It's the Snetterton 300 circuit in use, so it's a long lap. And the 30-second board has just been shown to the drivers, so it will not be long before they get underway. 10 laps they did yesterday. 20 minutes is the allotted time, so the flag goes out the first time the leader crosses the line once the 20 minutes are up. Cars will get away in a moment. All of these cars the same. In other words, they are the Ginetta G56 GTP. They have 3.5-litre V6 engines. They are capable of 140 miles an hour. They weigh in at 1,240 kilos, and it's then split into the Pro and the Am classes as the field now accelerates off down towards the first right-hander of riches. Mckenzie Douglass having taken wins at Alton Park at the start of the year. Then he had 3 at Donington. He was also the dominant man at Anglesey, winning 3 out of the 4 races there, plus a win yesterday. He's on pole position with Nick White, the man that's had 12 class wins in the AM category, last year's GT Academy champion, lining up 2nd. Matt Shaw 3rd. He retired even before the first corner yesterday. The car just did not get away. And Garlick, who's had a win this year as well outright, 3rd in the championship, lining up 4th. 5th on the grid is Harry Mangian, 4th in his class in the championship, and Alex Toth-Jones, Ginetta Porsche back to Ginetta racer, comes next ahead of Garlick. Quite a long way back, double winner this year, 2nd in the championship as well, ahead of Peter Mangian, who's 3rd in the AM class. Then you've got Morgan Short lining up 9th with his brother Marcus alongside. Both of them sons of the redoubtable Martin Short of One Make Rover Racing and TVR Tuscan, and then GT and ultimately Le Mans fame. And it's Jimmy Broadbent having his first outing really in Ginetta GT Championship events this weekend, starting at the back. Now, that's kind of where he was yesterday after the slow start, which was not his fault in fairness, and the pace was decent. So there he is. Let's see what he can do here, because if everybody picks up pace at the right time, then he should be able to go with the traffic and make some ground up on the first few corners. Yesterday, he was directly behind Matt Shaw on the grid. As they got to the end of the rolling start, everybody accelerated apart from Matt Shaw. We haven't got to the bottom of why, but it looked like the car might have either been in a kind of limp home mode or jammed in gear. It just never took off, and it meant that stuck behind him was Jimmy Broadbent. With the narrowness of the pit straight here, he couldn't suddenly dart out to the left because there were cars coming past, so he had to really wait until there was a gap at the end of the queue of traffic and then wriggle round Matt Shaw, who retired as soon as he could. Once the barrier disappeared on the right-hand side past the pits, he was able to find some space and pull off. That was his race done, and then Jimmy Broadbent got on with the job in hand. But contact with Peter Mangian turned him around, and it ultimately gave Jimmy Broadbent these behavioural warning points, which in turn have given him a grid drop, which in turn mean that he's got to do it all over again today from the very back of the grid. Number 10 there is the car of Marcus Short. who comes to Ginetta Racing after having raced in the Sports Prototype Cup this year. He's raced in the GT Cup with one of the family's Moslers. He's done the MG Cup with one of the family's Rover 216 GTIs, and he's also had a go in the Citroen C1 24 Hours. And Marcus, who is ever so polite to his old man, lists Martin, his father, as his racing hero, whereas Morgan, his brother, at least hedges his bets. He says that his racing hero is either his dad or Lewis Hamilton. And Morgan Short, lining up alongside, has done pretty much the same sort of thing, racing in C1s, the MG Cup, GT Cup with the Mosler, but he has also had a go in British GT, has Morgan, that being at Brands Hatch last year, and has had an overall win in the GT Cup in the family Mosler. So Morgan Short, one to watch from the fifth row of the grid. We are about to go racing then, the second of the 3 races for the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship over the course of the weekend. The drivers make their way now up towards the timing line. The lights on red will go out to get the race underway any moment now. It is blast off. Everybody away cleanly today, and a good getaway there by Mckenzie Douglass as up on the outside line. Alex Toth-Jones looks to try to gain ground as they dive into Riches. Nick White goes right round the outside there. And the multicoloured car, the white, the orange, the blue livery, is just going to be ahead, but on the outside line, that's going to be a compromised run up towards the Wilson hairpin as they break now, turn into the right-hander, and Mckenzie Douglass back through on the inside, comes out ahead, Nick White all over the back of him, and Matt Shaw having a much, much better start today, running in 3rd place. Make the run down towards turn 3 for the first time of asking, and Mckenzie Douglass with his 8 race wins looking to try to get away. On board with Harry Mangin here, number 44, as he has a look on the inside line, can't do it. Alex Toth-Jones, another one looking to make progress further back, look. And 71, which is Luke Garlick, 7th on the grid, needing to get a bit of a wriggle on here as the cars now turn their way out of Agostini, up towards Hamilton, then towards Oggies, and then up towards Williams. That, in turn, brings you on to the Bentley Straight, as it is these days, the old Rabbit Straight, down towards the S's. On board in Broadbent, and progress is being made, isn't it? Because there ahead is Peter Mangin, his nemesis of yesterday, and he's looking to try to get past cleanly today as they sweep now onto Revett Straight, and a good exit there by Broadbent puts him alongside Peter Mangin, who's raced not only Ginettas but Caterhams and Porsches over the years, and they're going to run side by side down towards the S's with Broadbent on the inside, making that move stick, in fact, as they come under the vehicle bridge down towards Brundle and Nelson for the first time. Out of bomb hole in a moment will go the race leader, and Mckenzie Douglass getting away. Broadbent slides up towards the curb on the exit there of the S's, and now flicks right. Better conditions today, and a little bit warmer as well. But early in the morning here, just after 9:05 when the lights changed, let's see whether these slightly cooler morning temperatures are going to help the cars in terms of lap times. Yesterday, Mckenzie Douglass was the dominant driver, and he leads at the end of lap 1. He also got the fastest lap. He did a 1:59.3 in yesterday's race, and we'll see what a proper flying lap is at the end of the next lap as the leaders go by then. So up front, Mckenzie Douglass 1.3 seconds ahead of a class-leading Nick White. Then you've got Matt Shaw, there he is, number 33 in 3rd, and Connor Garlick behind 4th. Luke Garlick 6th, number 71 in the background. He's still not really got past Harry Mangin yet. Out of the hairpin at Wilson they come. Back onto the loud pedal and down towards turn 3 with Douglass here making good his escape. That margin looks like it's increasing just a little bit as the cars now turn their way out of that left-hander. The run on towards Agostini round the back of the paddock. All part of that extra element of Snetterton, the infield part of the circuit that was brought in a good few years ago now, elongating the circuit. And there's an awful lot crammed into this first half of the lap. It's just under 3 miles in length. And by the time you get on to Bentley Straight, you've done the bulk of it. You've done over half the lap in terms of the distance. You're up to about 2.5 kilometres by the time you hit Bentley Straight. And then you've only got the S's, Bombhole, Coram and turn 12 to go. And then that long drag up the pit straight. So an awful lot happens in the first half of the lap. And Mckenzie Douglass then now breaking clear as he comes onto Bentley Straight once more. Luke Garlick there in the background, still chasing after Harry Mangin, but not getting any closer. That gap remaining about 3 or 4 lengths between the two of them. As up front, Mckenzie Douglass there continues to hold sway, still trying to build up the gap over the opposition. Nick White second, going after the race leader, yes, but he doesn't necessarily need to because he's in a separate class within the championship, and it is winning that and taking the points that are of import to him. That said, if anything were to happen to the overall race leader, Nick White would dearly like an outright race win. But if anything, he's dropping back into the clutches of Matt Shaw, who in turn is taking with him Conor Garlick. Now, Matt Shaw there, look, number 33, under huge pressure from Garlick, is also, bear in mind, second behind Nick White within the AM part of this race. So Nick needs to try to maintain that gap as best he can. Race leader comes across the timing line and a 2-minute 0 on that lap. So they're getting very close now to yesterday's pace. In second place is Nick White, and there's the fight for third. Matt Shaw just ahead of Conor Garlick as they turn their way now up through that right-hander of Riches, heading up towards Wilson. Behind them fifth, it's Mangian. Behind him in sixth place, it remains Luke Garlick. And Conor Garlick, his brother, goes there out of the Wilson hairpin. This is the run down now towards turn 3. And then you've got the drop towards Agostini. So this constant switchback on the infield part of the racetrack here. And there you can see Nick White no longer being able to go with Mckenzie Douglass, and he is only 7/10 of a second up from Matt Shaw, and it may well be that that's even less by the time they get onto Bentley Straight, because Shaw there, look, number 33, being spurred on by having Conor Garlick behind him, is certainly going after Nick White now, and the margin between them is coming down and down. Matt Shaw, the man from Blackpool, hustling on in third. This is Jimmy Broadbent in turn, who is closing on Alex Toth-Jones. Down a gear, turns right out of Williams, onto Bentley Straight. Toth-Jones up the curve ahead of him. And Jimmy Broadbent, who's done quite a lot of racing in a short space of time, pretty experienced now, going after Toth-Jones, and in turn for 7th place. Round the outside of Matt Shaw goes Conor Garlick into the S's, and he's ahead coming out of it. Good move that, round the outside. Conor Garlick goes through, and that helps Nick White as well, because it takes the pressure off a little bit in that AM battle. It puts one other car between him and his AM opposition. So there, Conor Garlick now getting on with the job, and let's see, having finally wriggled a way through, what, if anything, he can do about the traffic up the road. Nick White is the next target. Race leader comes up towards the line, and track limit warnings going to Luke Garlick now. There he is, number 71, the black car, closing on the back of Harry Mangian as they go through. So lots of warning flags being issued, and Luke Garlick goes through up the inside, heading into Riches. It's taken him a while to crack that, but he's done it. Up in the 5th place now goes Luke Garlick, number 71. Matt Shaw, the next target, as they sprint their way up now into the right-hander of Wilson, and Broadbent clatters into the side of Alex Toth-Jones and then proceeds to spin. The bite a bit there, because there was no way that he was ahead when he tried to turn into the corner, clattered into the side of Alex Toth-Jones, and then rotates the car. So place is lost. It's a bit like a snakes and ladders game for him, this. He's gained places, and now after that one error slides back down again and has got to do the hard yards once more. Alex Toth-Jones survives despite being driven into. It was his corner. He was on the inside line, and makes the run now on to Agostini without any pressure on this lap. But whether that car has picked up damage, time will tell. It looks okay. There it is. Alex Toth-Jones, who drives for the SVG Motorsport squad, a regular Ginetta team these days. Number 44 there, Harry Mangian, pressing on, having dropped back behind Luke Garlick, and now goes right out of Williams onto Bentley Straight once more. 12.5 minutes are on the clock still in this race. Mangian down through the gears. He watches the back wag ahead of him on that car of Luke Garlick. So as they turn their way now up through Bombhole, the race leader, Mckenzie Douglass, well clear, 1:59.9 his last lap. And you can see the way there that Conor Garlick is getting a little bit closer to Nick White, who really has been the standout AM driver this year. He's AM plus, really, Nick White, given how many wins he's had, 12 category wins. And Matt Shaw, now that he's fallen back behind Conor Garlick, dropping away from second and third, and therefore looking less likely to do anything about getting onto terms with a class rival, class leading Nick White. There he is, 57 is Nick White. Behind him is Conor Garlick. The margin between the two, 0.6 of a second, as Conor Garlick sets the fastest lap of the race now. Matt Shaw 4th, dropping back a little bit. Mckenzie Douglass then the race leader, out on his own for Fox Motorsport. You saw a moment ago Jamie Stanley urging him on from the pit wall, and Mckenzie Douglass doing a really good job, having moved into these cars this season. Down towards Agostini he comes. That's Nick White, the leading am. But Mckenzie Douglass, who was a Ginetta junior racer last year, the man from the Vale of Glamorgan, stepping up to the big league of Ginettas this year and acquitting himself very, very well indeed. And he's 2.8 seconds to the good now. A little bit further back, Morgan Short starting to close possibly. He's improving his lap times and getting a bit nearer to the back of Alex Toth-Jones. Nick White turns through second. Conor Garlick still there in third. And once more onto Bentley Straight. There you go. Nick White towards as he comes. That's Conor Garlick behind. Second of the pro category drivers. Nick White's Raceway Motorsport entry, the IT technical director from Melksham, staying in that second place. Last year's GT Academy champion. Former Carter before he had a few years away, came back in the Track Day Trophy Series and a bit of Clio racing. There is Alex Toth-Jones, and then behind him, that order shuffled after the dramas for Jimmy Broadbent. There, Morgan Short comes next. Behind him is Peter Mangian. Then you've got Marcus Short and Jimmy Broadbent down into last place, having to do that hard work all over again. Mckenzie Douglass, though, just making life look so easy up front. The Fox Motorsport car, anonymous rather, in its all-white colour scheme, heads up towards the timing line. This to put 5 laps in the book, and we're into the second half of the race now. Nick White second, Conor Garlick third, 7/10 of a second between them. Effort being made there on the inside as Marcus Short goes ahead of Peter Mangian, who once more is being caught by Jimmy Broadbent. So they've battled once in this race. They're going to do it all over again. Marcus Short goes through then, moves himself up past Peter Mangian as they come now over the timing line. 5 laps are in the book. And Jimmy Broadbent behind is lapping quicker than those two. He's caught up pretty easily, and so that Xentek car ought to be able to find a way through on this lap. Certainly be able to start fighting on this lap. Up towards the Wilson hairpin now. Brake, go down through the gears. It's here that Broadbent had his earlier spin. Survives this time around. And now works out where he can make a good clean pass against Peter Mangian. Fights the car out of turn 3. Is he near enough to think about a move at Agostini? Feints to the inside, but it's not really on. Got to stay behind. Tightens the line coming out of the corner. Can he get up alongside? No, Mangian already able to move across and cover that move. Sawing at the wheel, Jimmy Broadbent. Further up the road, Alex Toth-Jones has just been given a driving standards flag, and Broadbent now gets the tow, heading down Bentley Straight. Let's see which way he goes. Mangian covers off the inside line. Broadbent goes to the outside. Can he go all the way round the outside and then get the inside line for the second part of the S's? The answer is no. Peter Mangian elbows out, able to defend. And he stays ahead, moves to the inside of the road to defend that line down towards Bombhole. Go right now. Up towards Coram. Broadbent again rather bravely having a look on the inside. No way through there. Out of Coram, down towards turn 12, and Broadbent closing up under braking, but Peter Mangian, who's done many a lap around here, knows exactly where to position the car, but in a straight line, Broadbent gets a good run now up towards the timing line. 7.5 minutes are on the clock as they break the beam now, nose to tail, heading up towards Riches. Broadbent, again, can't really make a move to the inside. That line is covered. He thinks about the outside. Everywhere he wants to go. Peter Mangian has put that car already. Good defensive drive this by Peter. He may not have the speed to get away from Broadbent, but he can at least defend from him. And he's doing so cleanly as they come through Wilson. The two almost touching there, so close are they. Back onto the loud pedal goes Broadbent, down to turn 3. Brake lights come on. Peter Mangian's car ahead. Mangian from Raceway Motorsport. The Xentek car here. Broadbent, again, looks quicker. Gap on the inside, goes for it, down towards Agostini. There's a gap, there's room, he goes through, gains the place, and also commands the line for the corner. Doesn't run out too wide. So good move that made by Jimmy Broadbent. Moves himself through now up into 10th place. In other words, penultimate, not last anymore. But he had to work pretty hard for that. Peter Mangian gave him a hard time in terms of getting through. But the job is done, and now let's see whether any more progress can be made in 6 minutes and change by Jimmy Broadbent before the end. Rather sideways there, number 63, Conor Garlick goes through. survives the slide. And Nick White, looking as though yet another class win is heading his way as he turns now down through Coram into turn 12, up towards the timing line, still being chased hard by Garlick. So that margin, second to third, 7/10 of a second last time, up to 8/10 this time. Garlick, fastest lap of the race, still to his name. Matt Shaw behind, and then Luke Garlick, whose progress in this race has been really surprising, as in not that much of it, really, because he was really quick yesterday on his way to finishing in second place, but not able to do much at the start when the cars were all tightly bunched, and he's not been able to do much as the race has padded out. So the cars seemingly have all rather plateaued on pace, and Luke Garlick mired down in 5th spot. There he is, edging closer to the back of Luke Shaw, but it's quite a long slog by the look of it to get right onto terms with him. Harry Mangian, in the meantime, getting a bit lonely. This is his view. Goes now through Agostini once more. Back onto the power. Makes that run on towards Hamilton. Go left. Up towards Oggies, then towards Williams. And poor old Harry in no man's land. He's not being caught and he's not catching. He's got a rather lonely race here. Harry Mangian in one of the right-hand drive G56s, but the left hooker leading in the hands of Mckenzie Douglass, already going through the S's. Track limit warning flag last time around to Harry Mangian. There he is, coming down towards us in the orange and blue old Team L&T colours, in a sense, that. And Alex Toth-Jones, who's also received a track limit warning flag. He's another lonely driver behind. Then it is Morgan from Marcus Short. And Marcus there being caught, look, by Jimmy Broadbent, who's got away from Peter Mangian. So that means the fight's on for 9th as they come with 4 minutes to go out of the S's, down towards Bombhole now. The race leader has just gone through, such is the pace of Mckenzie Douglass. He's very nearly in race 3, so far ahead is he, with 4 seconds in hand over Nick White now. Jimmy Broadbent here coming through Coram. Long, long, long corner. Flick left. Careful not to run too wide because that really does compromise the run on this slight incline up past the pits. But if you lose momentum out of that last tight left, turn 12, it really spoils the run here past the pits. Far section of the racetrack. There, third, Garlick, and to the eye, maybe looking a little bit nearer this time to Nick White. The gap was down to 4/10 when they came across the timing line. So Garlick having one last push in this race. 3 minutes to go. They get another race this afternoon. Each of the 3 Ginetta categories gets 3 races over the weekend. They all had 1 yesterday. They get 1 this morning, further race this afternoon. So Nick White goes by, and there Jimmy Broadbent makes his move against Marcus Short, tries the outside line. No, you don't, says Marcus. Fends him off, coming out of Agostini. And now that run up towards Hamilton. Go left here. Inside, Jimmy Broadbent makes the move. But even though he had a long look and there was just about space, Marcus Short able to come out of the corner ahead. Jimmy Broadbent unable to really get fully alongside before he had to turn into the corner. Short, in fairness, gave him the space, but was still able to hang on to it. Trouble is now he's giving a toe to Broadbent in a straight line. He covers off the inside line. Broadbent to the outside. Last of the late breakers, and Broadbent on the outside tries to level. That's going to give him the inside line for the second part of the S's, and he goes through. But Marcus Short tries to stand his ground on the outside, but he has to give way. Down to Bombhole, they're going to be nose to tail, but in the new order, Jimmy Broadbent up into 9th and down to 10th, then is Marcus Short. The race leaders, in the meantime, have gone through. And we've got now about 1 minute and 38 seconds on the clock. It's going to be touch and go, this, as to whether it's the last lap, but I think it will be. They got 10 laps out of it yesterday. I would suggest that this is going to be the last lap now, looking at where the race leaders are around the circuit. So there, Matt Shaw heading for 4th overall and 2nd in class. And Luke Garlick closing up on him very late in the race. It is the last lap, confirmed by race control. Luke Garlick's black-nosed car peers to the inside, but Matt Shaw is able, at least for now, to keep him at bay. This is about as close as Luke Garlick has been race long, and he's running out of corners now, this being the last lap. The Blackpool driver is ahead. Matt Shaw was the GTA rookie champion last year. I go back a good few years, and you'd have found Matt Shaw on a football pitch. He was a professional footballer for about 7 years, and then started business, which allowed him to find the money and the time to go motor racing. And there he is, heading on to the Bentley Straight, still clear in turn of Luke Garlick, and I think he's probably done about enough now to hang on to that place to the very end. But yet again, he's going to be frustrated by Nick White's stellar pace, which will give him class win number 13. Out of the S's then goes Matt Shaw. The Raceway Motorsport car ahead of Luke Garlick. But Mckenzie Douglass is heading for yet another win. And this is going to be a 9th of the season as he comes now down towards the last corner. Checkered flag awaits. The clock hits 0 now. And so Mckenzie Douglass is going to win the 2nd race of the weekend in the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship. It is a 9th win of the season for Mckenzie Douglass. He takes the checkered flag, and the winning margin over Nick White in 2nd place, 3.2 seconds. Conor Garlick comes home for 3rd. 4th is going to go the way of Matt Shaw, and Luke Garlick 5th. That's Harry Mangian 6th. And for 7th place, it should be Alex Toth-Jones ahead in turn of Morgan Short, and then it'll be Jimmy Broadbent here heading for 9th place. 10th behind him is Marcus Short, and then Peter Mangian to round out the 11 starters, all of whom have made it to the end. So Mckenzie Douglass does it again, although Conor Garlick, the man that finished in 3rd, does take the fastest lap of the race. So Mckenzie Douglass and Nick White there in shot together. The 2 class winners, overall and pro, is Mckenzie Douglass, the AM winner for the 13th time this year, Nick White, and Conor Garlick chasing them both home, finishing in 3rd place overall. Now, time penalties are coming, and 5 seconds given to number 63, Conor Garlick. So that is going to drop him possibly. Matt Shaw, I think, is going to be elevated 1 place. Yes, he is. The timing screen has just updated. So Matt Shaw gets 3rd, and Conor Garlick will fall behind his brother as well. So Luke Garlick up to 5th, and Conor Garlick drops then down to 5th place. So disappointment. And it's disappointment once again, because yesterday he had the time penalties, and it's happened again for Conor Garlick, applied right at the very end. So let's have a look at the results then of the 2nd race of the weekend in the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship. Mckenzie Douglass, the race winner, from Nick White and Matt Shaw, the top 2 in the AM class. Luke Garlick promoted to 4th, and with a time penalty, Conor Garlick down to 5th, ahead of Harry Mangian and then Alex Toth-Jones. Morgan Short taking 8th, ahead of Jimmy Broadbent after his spin. Marcus Short 10th, and 11th, Peter Mangian. So another good drive for Mckenzie Douglass. He will make his way round to the pit lane, and in due course, he and the team can work out what they need to do in order to try to take yet another victory later on in the day, because that 3rd race coming up a little bit later on, where they make their way now up the pit lane. And Mckenzie Douglass will be a very happy man indeed. 2 out of 2 this weekend. Quick look back at how he did it. Good getaway by Mckenzie Douglass. Alex Toth-Jones on the outside line, also looking to try to gain ground on the way to the 1st corner. Matt Shaw in 33 going to the inside line. Side by side, the race leaders ran up towards the hairpin at Wilson. Mckenzie Douglass through, and that was enough to secure him the race lead, a lead he was never to lose as the cars then sprinted down through the S's. Conor Garlick rubbed his way up past Matt Shaw, but ultimately a time penalty would drop number 63 back down the order into 5th place. Ultimately, Jimmy Broadbent tried to get rid of Alex Toth-Jones at the hairpin. He ended up having his own spin, and that put him to the back of the order. He was able to recover, getting past Peter Mangian and then also past Marcus Short before the very end. So Jimmy Broadbent having a pretty busy time of it. Some hard racing that he's been demonstrating all weekend. In contrast, though, Mckenzie Douglass was away and gone up the road, and so he was able to build that race lead as the 20 minutes ticked on down. Ultimately, a 9th race win of the season for a somewhat dominant Mckenzie Douglass within the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship.